Hello and welcome back to another episode of SuperCoach Insider. My name is Ben.
And I'm Chris.
And today we are covering the cold toast.
The cold toast.
Oh, the Gold Coast.
The cold toast Suns.
Yes.
The cold toast and buns.
Who are more SuperCoach relevant this year than probably ever. I wouldn't say ever.
Maybe.
And I'm not talking about their premiums, ladies and gentlemen. Their premiums
or lack thereof.
Cooked, yeah. Do they even have a premium?
I literally have not got a premium on their entire list.
That's fair.
I don't think that if you're looking for premiums, just bypass them, but they are very, very relevant in terms of rookies.
Yes.
I think, and we'll just get straight into the team overview, I think that they're guaranteed to be the bottom team this year.
And this could be the record for the quickest podcast beating North Melbourne last year.
No, I don't think
at 15 minutes.
There's quite a lot of content to get through, but the only thing that could save them is the fact that Carlton's Doherty going down, and them not, if they don't progress from last year, which I think they will. I think they actually genuinely will progress.
Oh no, they'll be bottom of the ladder.
Carlton?
No.
Gold Coast
will be bottom.
So, but they do play each other twice, so it might be the results of those games could determine who gets the spoon. So it's going to be a cracking year for the Gold Coast Suns. And we've said this before. We said this in our podcast last year. I mean, you're obviously a hardcore Brisbane fan.
Yes.
I really want to like the Gold Coast. So don't take this as a battering.
Oh no, Gold Coast is probably my third side behind Brisbane, Carlton, and then Gold Coast. But
it is actually, by the way, great venue. Metricon Stadium is an amazing spot.
Awesome.
When we go down, we stay down there near the casino. You get a bus, you walk across the road, get a bus straight to the stadium in 5 minutes. It's a really awesome place to go watch football. It's just they've got to have a competitive team on the park. I'm just glad the AFL have put.
They'll get there.
They've come out and said. We're definitely 100% going to be backing the Gold Coast Suns in and see how they go. So fingers crossed it all works out for them.
Well, if you don't do it right, do it multiple times.
Yeah, that's right.
So that's my theory on it. Chris, take us away. We're going to play the highlights from Gold Coast versus the Suns.
Probably the only
Gold Coast
highlight.
versus the Swans, should I say?
Yeah, the only highlight that they really had for the entire year was their real win against Sydney.
And even then they were losing at quarter time.
That's true.
But if you want a sneaky little bet this year, just try and pick an opponent that's versing Gold Coast and bet over 100 points.
Oh,
I reckon they're going to lose. Bad. I reckon they're going to lose 4 games by 100 points or more this year.
So look, I'll just go through. I mean, look, they're obviously rebuilding 100%. They're flagged that they've traded out decent picks and decent players that they didn't need to trade out.
Well, Tom Lynch, Stephen May, Collar Jasny, gone.
Yep. They've just delisted. What's his name? Jared Lyons as well. So I mean, they've cleared out the whole.
And Aaron Hall gone, fire sale.
Yep. And they did manage 4 wins, but it didn't feel like they won 4.
Well, they beat Brisbane.
They won the first 2 rounds, so they were actually 2-0. Yeah,
in the rain.
Exactly right.
Where Ben Brown got 20 points or 12 points or whatever it was.
But then they lost the next 16 of the next 17, including 2 by over 100 points to the Cats and Giants. So they are far and away from the best in the competition in terms of where they need to be, and I think they know it. They need to close the gap in the competition and be competitive. Their average losing margin to top 8 sides. 78 points.
Oh.
It's just a splattering. That is a smashing.
So they could lose 8 games by 100 points.
They could. It's like, and that was last year. They're worse this year. So again, sorry to bash on them, but 78.4 points per game in top 8 sides.
It's going to be like the first year they've come into the competition.
Yeah. And what's
great, get a couple of experienced guys, but a lot of draft talent. It's going to be like they're playing the first, even GWS the first 2 or 3 years, they were getting flogged.
Interesting considering that they actually made the second most tackles in the entire comp for the year. So their pressure around the ball was pretty good. They turned the ball over more than any other side though. Their foot skills were absolutely terrible. It just literally doesn't look like it's getting worse, but that does make them a really important cog in SuperCoach because they will be playing kids.
Yes.
Guaranteed. So round 1... expect them to have 4 or 5 debutants. That's what I see with Gold Coast. Draw difficulty, they have the 15th hardest, so the third easiest. They double up against GWS, Adelaide, Brisbane, St Kilda and Carlton. Now the unfortunate thing about that is, I mean, GWS is probably getting worse, but I think there's probably still a top 8 side.
Yeah, I think GWS are underrated this year.
Yeah, Adelaide as well, underrated. I think they're going to come back in. Brisbane are on the improve, St Kilda are on the improve, and then you've got Carlton also improving. So all of those teams around them are generally going to be improving, or teams that they're going to struggle with. So even though it says 15th hardest draw, I think it's a little bit harder than that. So just my opinion. They 3 6-day breaks though, and no 5-day breaks. So they actually have the league's shortest amount of 6-day breaks and no 5-day breaks.
Well, you know why? Because no one wants to watch football on a Sunday afternoon.
Because
you know what? We just play you Sunday every week, guys.
And look, that's actually good for them in terms of down here. I prefer the afternoon games down like on the Gold Coast because you can, it's a 2 o'clock kickoff.
No prime time. Prime time.
They don't deserve it.
What does that mean? They'll play 3 Saturday games and then the rest will be Sundays.
Pretty much.
And they'll probably be when they're versing Brisbane or something.
Yeah.
Like Q Clash Saturday. Okay, now you get a 7-day break. You're back on Sunday.
Pretty much. Now, you can read into this however you like, but they do have a good opening 6 rounds against decent teams that they can potentially snag a win. So they would want to come out of it with a couple because otherwise it's going to be an 0-6. They're gonna say hi to old mate Owen for a long time. But they have Saints away, Freo at home, Dogs away, Carlton at home, Adelaide away, then the Lions. So that's the first 6 rounds. So it's probably one of the easiest 6 rounds that you could ask for. So you can look at that 2 ways. Do they want to charge for a win, play all their mature age recruits, or do they want to go in there with the young guns, see if what they can do, and evaluate their season, give them more games?
I'll take young guns for 1,000.
Yes, sold.
What better way to give them a little bit of confidence?
Well, I agree with you, but I do like the other viewpoint of we need to give the supporters something at the start of the year. So we've got to win a game. If
they wanted to give the supporters something, they wouldn't be doing a fire sale like Die Hard 4.
I wonder if they... I'm not a member of the Gold Coast. I wonder if they sent out a big members email at the end of the year saying, hi, by the way, this is what's happening. We're going to sell everyone. And but we still want your support. Still give us some money.
We want your support to sell the farm.
Anyway, they have the round 14 bye, which isn't great for upgrades, but it's fantastic for rookies because obviously the rookies that you start with at the start of the year, if they're performing well, you can carry them right through until that last bye. So it does mean that they're good on that sense. In terms of off-seasons recruits, so they've got a lot of ins and a lot of outs. So their ins, Corey Ellis, Jack Homsch, George Holland-Smith and Anthony Miles are all in. Out of the team is Michael Barlow, Josh Jaska, I've never heard of that guy. Jesse Lonergan, who never really got off the ground.
No, lost patience there.
Yeah. Jared Lyons, Max Spencer, again, another rookie. Mackenzie Willis, another rookie. Aaron Hall, Kay Colo, Stephen May, Tom Lynch, Jack Scrimshaw, and Matt Rosa retired as well.
Yes.
That is a massive...
Well, he probably saw what was happening and it's like, I'm out.
Well, I mean, he was old enough, and he had some decent games playing for the Suns, but he was pretty much done anyway. So, huge clean out. Obviously, there is some quite a few Supercoach relevant discussions in that, and so we will obviously touch base on that too. But the biggest one's obviously the rookies. So they had some really, really great draft selections, a lot of top 10 selections, and I think they had 5 or 6 selections in the top 30, which is really warranted. So there we go with the result of that game. Oh, we can't even see the Suns there, but they did win that game, just in case you're wondering. All right, let's go over here. So getting into it, rookies. So they had pick 2 and they picked Jack Lukosius, which I think everyone felt that was the way they were going to go if Sam Walsh was picked at number 1. So I'll go through a little bit. So what they've tried to do here, which is what we discussed in last week's pod, with them trading people from the same state or club.
Yeah, they're trying to pull a Brisbane because it looks like it's working out.
Yeah, exactly right. They're trying to mitigate the go-home factor. And the fact of the matter is that there's not much talent in Queensland in terms of up-and-coming. And when there is, obviously Brisbane and Gold Coast snap it up. But they do have to draft from interstate generally to get these kids in. So Jack Lukosius is from Adelaide. And the comparison's obviously to Nick Riewoldt. So probably a lot of people know about Jack Lukosius, but that's the style of player he is. He's the one that hits up the logos. He's at 194 centimetres, 85 kegs, ready to go. He was talked up most of the year as the player most likely to go number 1, but however, being from South Australia and Carlton having picked 1 meant that they were more likely to go Sam Walsh just purely because, again, go home factor. And why wouldn't you? So, yeah, makes a lot of sense to me. They nabbed him at number 2, and they also got 2 other kids from the same state, and a pre-draft prospect as well in Chris Burgess. So they got Chris Burgess and Jez McLennan, as well as Jack Lukosius, and their next pick, which is Isaac Rankin, all from South Australia. So they got 4 kids from South Australia in this draft, which is pretty cool. So just some stats on him. Played Sandful football at the age of 16. So he played senior football 2 years early. Kicked 4 goals on debut. All right. So he's got a big raps already. Got everyone talking straight away. He's a wheel and go style forward. So he's the guy that hits the logos, gets the ball, and then wheels and goes and moves the ball forward. And has very good decision making and foot skills. He's got amazing endurance and it often leads back inside. So he gets outside of the 50 and then leads back inside to take uncontested marks. He's not traditionally a contested beast and marking forward. He's one that uses his agility, endurance, length to be able to take marks on the lead. However, that's something he's working on. He's no slouch in it. He's just not amazing at it. He averaged 14.5 disposals, including 11 kicks per game, 7.5 marks, 2.3 goals, 1.5 tackles in the under-18 championships. Decent. So something to watch in the JLT, but unfortunately because of his pick number 2, he's going to be expensive. I think he's like 190k-ish.
Yep. Very expensive.
So I don't think you can pick him just based on the price, but if he comes out in the JLT, and I think he will 100% play round 1. I think he's locked into their round 1 plans as long as he has a good preseason and doesn't get injured.
I think you have to play the top picks, really.
You got to get him game time, and that leads to the next one, who I think is again guaranteed to play round 1. Isaac Rankine, pick number 3, again from Adelaide. Champion Data rated him as the best draft prospect, just ahead of Sam Walsh in terms of Champion Data returns or points per match. He's a mid-forward type, 180 centimetres, 74 kilos, averaged 15.8 disposals, including 12.3 kicks. So again, that high kick to handball ratio, 3.8 marks, 2 tackles a game, 3 goals per game already, and 69% of his disposals are contested. So he's just that half-forward beast that goes into the midfield when he can, gets clearances, then goes forward and kicks goals. There's that Chad Wingard style player. Predominantly played forward at West Adelaide with stints in the midfield, but is damaging when he gets in there. I would say that 100% he starts in a pocket right next to his buddy Jack LaCoach. I heard actually on draft night that they're actually not good mates. They play in the same team. They're just they're not great mates, which is fine. I mean, you don't have to be best mates with everyone, but that might hurt them later.
Might do.
Anyway. Next one is, of course, pick 6. So they had 2, 3, and 6, and they went with Ben King, brother of Max, which I think is a great recruit.
I think it is, except I wasn't quite happy with Saints being tweeting or whatever, being like, "Oh, see you in a few years." Yeah,
which a little bit funny.
It's funny.
I like
it. It's a little uncalled for, though. Really,
it is, and I don't know if he's going to go back. No. So I mean, the good thing about he's going to get game time.
Well, I would laugh. Kind of like a serve you right kind of thing. See you in 4 years, ha ha ha. Next minute,
Max goes to the
Gold Coast. So that would be hilarious.
That would be fantastic.
I would laugh so hard if that came out.
Now, obviously the touts are, so Max went at pick 5, Ben went at pick 6. Max is considered to be a better talent, however, missed the entire year with an ACL injury. Ben was actually playing so they played opposite ends of the ground. He played centre-half back. Max played centre-half forward or full forward. And when Max went down, Ben went forward and started kicking goals. Now, they're obviously twin brothers. So they're twin brothers, 202 centimetres, 83 kegs.
Imagine playing them like, I thought that guy was out. Next week he's kicking 5 snags on me. I thought you said he did his knee. That's the other one.
And so I don't know where he's going to play, but I would assume that they drafted him to play at centre-half back to replace Stephen May. So I don't know where he's going to... They did draft a lot of backs this year.
Yes.
But again...
like Collins. Was Thompson, though? Was he pushed further back,
so, well, that's what I mean. So here's the thing. The big consideration is people loving the Sam Collins pick, but I don't know if he's going to play round 1. Because if you look at their tools, they've got Rory Thompson, who's, if he's fit, is playing. They've just drafted in Jack Homsch. He's the guy that plays on the Brutes.
Yes.
So he's, again, I think he would be guaranteed to play ahead
Jack
of Collins.
Homsch had to play a bit taller, too.
Yeah. But he's, I think, 193 or 194 and 90 kegs. So, he's the sort of big body guy that's going to play on a big defender. And then you've got Ben King or Sam Collins. So I would rather get games into Ben King. But I can see the value in playing Sam Collins, who's the experienced body, had a lot, played at AFL level before, etc. So do they play Ben King early? I'm not sure. I think he gets a run, and I would tip him to be in the starting lineup in round 1.
Yep.
But I don't think he can play all 4 of them, so...
Yeah, it's interesting. Collins
may not get a run.
He may just be depth.
Yeah, and I'll go into a little bit of... Collins is an exciting prospect as well, but yes. I will go into that a little bit. But Ben can play forward, but I'm pretty sure he played forward this year, but he plays his best football behind the ball, and I think that's where long-term he'll be. But there's a lot to play out in AFL world. So in 2017, when he was in defence, he averaged 13.7 disposals, including 7.3 marks per game. In 2018, when he was in attack, he averaged 14 disposals, 6.3 marks per game, and 2 goals a game. So he's a slightly better Supercoach performer because he can kick goals when he does, but when he's behind the ball, he gets those intercept possessions instead of goals. Excellent. So I don't think he's probably going to be Supercoach relevant because price.
Yes.
And I don't think he's going to have a real super high return. So he might be that sort of defender that averages you 45, 50. You kind of want to get a little bit more, especially if you're going to be paying 180.
Yep. Even we go back throughout the last 5 years or so, most top 10 picks are heavily priced, and not many give you a good return.
Yeah, exactly.
So you're looking at your McGrath, your Mills. They're the ones that are doing well. But then for those that started, Cam Raynard didn't return too well. There's so many.
There's a lot picks that don't. Especially when they're in the defensive.
Like even Luke Davis-Uniacke is still priced around what he was last year.
The pure ready to go mids, like a Sam Walsh, he'll go all right.
Yep.
But the small forwards or the defenders, they generally don't.
He could be like the McGrath and the Mills. There are some that do really well returning, and then some, other ones are not so good.
Yeah. Now, next one, they were pretty swift to pick up Jez McLennan, who, again, is another Adelaide product. So their next pick, they got another Adelaide product in Jez McLennan. Lots of raps in this kid, and I'll go through the good and then go through the bad. He's likened to Witherden in terms of the way that he plays and his foot skills. Absolute sublime, rarely misses a target. Medium-sized defender who has amazing foot skills and can intercept the ball. He might get a run early, because obviously there's no Cade Colo, and they're going to have to shake up their entire backline. But he's not a proven accumulator. So he's not the type of guy that goes out and gets 25 disposals, 30 disposals, like a Witherden. So definitely someone to watch. I will be watching him in JLT. He may be in my starting side. I do think that he will get a run early, but we'll have to wait and see. 183 centimetres and 81 kegs means he's ready to go, but he averages 13 disposals per game, 5 marks and 3 tackles. So is that enough?
Especially seeing that some kids are getting 30 disposals and then only getting 17 in AFL.
He's a 117k defender, so you can take a punt on him, but we'll wait until the JLT to pass judgment. But
I was going to say, mate, 117 kilos, jeez.
No. Their last pick in the actual national draft was Caleb Graham, pick 71, academy pick, which he grew up in Cairns. Key defender who can swing forward and into the ruck. Project player likely, and he's unlikely to get senior game time this year, I think, behind Ben King and Sam Collins. 194 centimetres and 84 kilos. Low agility test scores, but great closing speed. So he's probably more of a one-on-one key position specialist as opposed to an intercept marker or a rebounding defender. So kind of makes him useless in Supercoach. We're not done yet. Priority State League selection in Josh Corbett. So they had a couple of State League selections from just being terrible. The first one is Josh Corbett.
From just being terrible.
Yeah. And to be honest, I think he's a lock. So he's definitely my side. Hasn't left since day one. I think he's the guy that definitely starts round 1. He was recruited from Werribee. He's an AFL ready player and has previously in the previous draft year, he was actually had glandular fever and was overlooked in selection. He's big, 190 centimetres, 90 kilos. So he's that prototype forward, really big, muscly guy. But not real key position prospect. He's more of that sort of Gunston type third tall.
Yep.
Contested marking beast. Animal contested marking.
So behind Peter Wright?
Yeah. So you have maybe Wright, Lukosius, and then you'd have Josh Corbett in there. So I really think that he will play round 1. Mature age recruit at 22. Played 9 games averaging 7.6 marks, including 2.3 goals in the VFL. Suffered an eye injury in his 9th game and didn't play out the rest of the season. Won the Fothergill Round Mitchell Medal, which is awarded to the most promising young talent in the VFL. Previous winners of that medal are Bailey Fritsch, Luke Ryan, Nick Newman and Kane Lambert.
Right.
Those are the last 4. So
big shoes.
Definitely. Accurate goal kicking as well, kicking 21 goals, 10 in his 9 games. So definitely a guy that can come in and impact from day one, hit the scoreboard, and I'm pretty confident that he'll be playing.
Let's watch him in JLT.
Yeah, definitely. Last one is Chris Burgess. So he's also another state league selection. Mature age player from Adelaide, teammate of Isaac Rankine at West Adelaide. Versatile swingman was he got cut from his club at age 14 for being too short. And then he grew 20 centimetres in his last year of high school, and they're like, oh, well, you can come back now.
That's so bad.
Yeah, so he came fourth.
At 14, how do you cut someone at 14 for being too short?
I don't know, he's just...
Jesus.
Maybe the position he played and everyone else was shooting up around him. But he's 194 now, so he's decent size, obviously. So he came fourth on the best and fairest of West Adelaide, and he impressed people with his athleticism for his size, because obviously...
He's used to being short.
Exactly right. So he's good below his knees. Kicked a goal a game as a swingman, playing mainly in defence. So when he does swing forward, he can actually impact a game.
I like it.
So yes, another one. But the problem is, okay, so they've recruited all these key position players, but they've got key position players. So, I don't see him in the mix for an early game unless injury strikes.
Yeah, but I think Thompson not having much... I don't think he has that many more legs to stand on, really. So.
True. And the way to go about recruiting and drafting for a club is this, and pretty simple, is you get your bigs in early, so they've got more time to develop, and then once you know that you're set with your spine, then you start going out with your real big on-ballers, etc.
Yeah, or start drafting what you need.
Yeah. And then it's, okay, well, I want a Sam Walsh instead of a Jack Lukosius.
Yep.
So that's probably their plan. I assume that next year they'll be very, very heavy on midfielders for the competition. So they'll probably get number one and maybe another pick, and they'll go bang, bang, midfielder. So we'll see what happens there. Sam Collins, we already touched on. Just a little bit on Sam Collins. So he, obviously, a lot of people remember him from 2016. He was a great rookie. In the back end of the year, he averaged 72.5 in 13 games. Hit the ton twice and at 92. He only played 2 games the following year, averaging 58. But that year, he won the Peel Thunder Best and Fairest and couldn't crack into the AFL side, which is just stupid for Freo.
Yeah.
I could not understand.
Ross Lyon.
He then got delisted and moved to Melbourne and played in Werribee this year and won the club's BNF. And he came... third in the JJ Liston Trophy, which is the best and fairest, the Brownlow medal. He's as wide as a Mack truck. He's absolutely massive. 194 centimetres, 98 kegs.
Nice.
The guy is an actual tank. I don't know what their defensive setup's going to be, so it depends on what... I think Jack Homsch plays, so if he does, is Sam Collins there or is Ben King? Or is it Ben King, Sam Collins, and Jack Homsch is going to work his way inside? But you wouldn't say that they would trade in for a Homsch and then not play him. So
it'll be interesting to see how they set up, that's for sure.
Now that covers all the rookies, guys. So it's finally got through it. Sorry, mate.
Nice.
So you just said...
Well, we're saving time on premiums, so,
Well, I've got here the premiums listing right there. You'll probably see... there we go. Oh, there we go. No premiums. Yeah. Big backspace there. So, do you want to get us started off with some mid-price action? So you've had a little bit of a look?
Not really.
Oh, really?
No, I do have a couple down. So I've got interested in Anthony Miles, David Swallow, probably Fiorini, and Pierce Hanley for me.
Excellent. There's definitely mid-prices that you can look at, but mainly draft specific.
Draft, yeah. Not so much.
The big one for standard is Anthony Miles.
Yes.
Yeah. So
only because he's a proven scorer when he's playing.
Yeah.
And he couldn't crack into the Richmond side, but for Gold Coast, who pretty much have David Swallow now and Fiorini.
I think he starts round 1 in the guts.
Yep.
I think that he won the JJ Liston Trophy, so that trophy that Sam Collins came third in, the person who won it was Anthony Miles, and it was actually a tie. So the first and second were both a tie first, and the other guy who won was Michael Gibbons, who's that guy who's touted to jump across the
hopefully get a game. I hope he gets a game.
Yeah, who also, so last year he came second, and the year before he won it.
Yeah.
So I mean, he's had a 3-year run and can't get a crack at AFL. Come on, mate. Let's be honest. The thing is,
Gold Coast didn't go in. They could have got in for free.
Yeah, but his type is rebounding defender. They just picked up Jez McLennan. And I think if they didn't go him,
I thought he was a midfielder.
Jez McLennan?
No.
No. Michael Gibbons is a rebounding defender.
Right.
Yep, definitely. Here's the thing. So yes, it was a tie, but Anthony Miles did that in 4 less games. So he played 4 less games than Michael Gibbons and still polled 19 votes.
Well, he sounds great, Chris, except the fact that he's like 330k.
I think it's a decent price. He averaged 30 disposals, including 14 contested possessions, 7.5 clearances, 5.5 inside 50s, and a goal a game. Previous averages, so from 2014 on, so in 2014 he played 12 games and averaged 99. In 2015, 97 in 22 games. 2016, 89 in 19 games. And then he only played 5 games the next year, averaging 70.6. And then last year he only played 1 game, averaging 90. Well, obviously he hit a
90 in the 1 game.
Yeah. He's been starved of opportunity, someone I think who has value, but I don't see him as a premium selection. He's a stepping stone.
Yep.
So it's 342k mid, stepping stone, decent selection. I think there are others that can average better that are cheaper this year, but 95 average?
Yeah, possible. I'd rather go at Hanbury though. I don't know if I have room for him and Miles.
Yeah,
For me.
Be wary, but I mean, I suppose the good thing is he's fairly reliable to be on the park. He doesn't get injured too much. Someone like
I think
Miles.
he'll definitely get a good role. I'm keen more for draft. He'd be a good option for that 95 plus easy, especially at like 342k.
Yeah, I don't think he's one that goes plus 100. I think he'll probably stay under 100. 95 average is good. You know, he's not going to replicate 30 disposals, 14 contested possessions, 7.5 clearances at AFL level.
No, but also, well, he could get the opportunity for it. But the problem is as well, if the Gold Coast are losing a lot, it's hard to score points.
Yeah.
Like your scaling gets flogged.
Yeah, and I do worry. I'm a little bit wary about the fact that Stewie Jew last year had a fucking absolute dead set. Sorry for the F-bomb there. Absolute dead set
Barlow.
In Barlow and didn't play him because he wanted to play the kids. So is that going to happen with someone like an Anthony Miles where he plays the first few rounds, everything's going well. Oh, sorry, I want to play the kids, so you're going to play
bring him in,
pocket.
and he's like getting 45 touches in.
Exactly right. So I'm not sure what that means, but I don't see him there in 4 years' time when they start moving up the ladder. I think he's just buying his time in the next couple of years playing at AFL level, which I'm sure is fine by him. He'd rather be doing that than playing in the Richmond's VFL team, right?
Yep.
Fiorini. So 442k mid, averaged 81 this year. Injury interrupted year, only managed 11 games, down from 13 the year before, and his body's now starting to be questionable.
Yes.
So
3 of those scores of 116 plus.
Exactly right. Which is, and these last 4 games of the year, he averaged 93. I love Fiorini. I think he's an awesome player. He just needs a run at it.
Yep.
So someone you can get in draft late because, again, he only averaged 81 as a midfielder, so you can pick him up on your bench. Especially in a deep, like an 18-man draft league.
12 to 18 men, you can get him on your bench. Yep.
Exactly right. Can he get a run at it? I'm not sure, but I really like him. Watching him play, he's a brilliant footballer, so I do like getting footballers in. Now, the speculative premium, I suppose, is Swallow. Average 87 for the... average 89 this year. His body and his scoring is just too inconsistent for me. His heights in 2014 have been replicated where he averaged 103. His average history since has been 85, 85 and 89.
Yep. I have a little bit more faith based on...
You love him. You've loved him for years.
I have a little bit more faith based on he's the only midfielder in that team, basically.
Yeah.
Right? So, but he's had a couple of years to get his body right. I think he wasn't confident with it. He did start to show some signs. I mean, he had... so David Swallow had 6 scores of 109 plus. So I think he's... you get the back end up, you get the consistency up. I think he was still banged up a little bit last year. I think it could be the year.
Who gets tagged in that midfield now?
No.
Did anyone run a tag?
Tuke Miller?
Did they do a Buckley and just go, nah.
Free
let's
for
not
all.
worry about it, eh?
Free for all.
Let him have the ball.
Pretty much. Yep. Tuke
A
Miller.
little bit like Cripps this year. Like, no one pretty much went with him.
They'll just tag Tuke Miller to stop him from running with someone.
Yeah.
No, we're taking you. No, I'm taking you. No, I'm taking you.
We're both taking each other. Let's just sit off.
Yep, go for a spell.
Anyway, Jack Martin is probably the other one there.
Interesting though. Jack Martin, he had 7 scores in the 90s.
Yep.
100, so he is consistent, but I think he'll try and have a cracking year.
What's his best position?
He's coming out of contract, so I don't know. He has to want to have a cracking year to add to his value, surely.
Unfortunately, he's a swift breeze will blow him over. But what's his best position? I don't because he played before. His scoring isn't really definitive of this positional play because he plays behind the ball, plays in front of the ball,
kicks
goals, rebounds the ball,
and
plays on a wing.
Gets screwed.
Is he a clearance player? We've never really seen him in the midfield.
Could be this year.
I don't know.
Could be.
Did they just give him 10 games in there to see what he can do? Because the guy's got talent.
Yep. Oh yeah, he's definitely got talent. But I'm keen to see if he can actually improve and do something. Yeah,
he actually went down last year and only had one ton this year.
I know. So, that's what I mean. But he could come out and everyone would be like, "Oh, there's the Jack Martin we've been waiting for."
Yeah, right. I know. Well, and which is true. Like maybe it's just Ablett was there beforehand. Then Aaron Hall is that player. Then now it's open. Maybe he goes in there. I don't know. I would love to see it.
I'd be interested.
You'd have to have balls to pick him now, but I mean maybe in the JLT,
100%.
It's a bit of a role change.
The other one worth noting for draft reasons is Lockie Weller.
Yep.
Average 88.5 for his last 6 rounds. He's a defender mid now as well, I believe. So, defender, yeah.
And they traded the farm to get him, remember? So
they did, but I think now a little bit more established in the system. Another
year
older.
A couple of games last year I went, man, this guy's alright, eh?
Yeah. You talking about his looks or the game?
Well, a little bit of both. A little bit of column A, a little bit of column B. Jared Harbrow's one that I'm really interested in, and not for standard just because there's so many other options, but he's a great draft option. I'll tell you why. Hold on. Inconsistent scoring, typical of a defender who can go big or small. So when he has roles where he gets locked down, and if he has a lockdown role, then he doesn't ever score well. But then he has roles where he can actually get off and feed and use his foot skills, etc. His improvement could lead to him taking more kickouts. He was second in the team with 74. Stephen May led the team with 90. So he's now going to be the primary kick taker in defence. So I know he only averaged 74 last year, but I can 100% see him average over 80 this year. And especially with that, I think that really helps him with the kick-out duties. Unfortunately, he does play on 1 in 3. So 1 in 3 times he gets the ball. So that means that he really only has a 66% upturn on those stats. So what I mean by that is, if you're
playing every time, yeah.
If you played on last year, you're already getting a stat for that. Whereas this year, you'll get a stat regardless. So you get 66% growth on stat, which made it equate to what? 2 points on average per possession. So if you get another...
Well, it depends. 50-metre long kick to a contest.
Yeah.
Happy days.
It does depend. So look, should bump... Oh, so he averaged 81.9. So I reckon he can bump that up to about an 85 average. So someone that I think in draft can really add value to your team.
Nice.
The
other one...
Yeah, you go.
Sorry.
No, you go. I got a couple more. But
Jared Witts. Oh, you go Jared Witts. I don't want to talk about Jared Witts.
Just first full season playing 22 games. Averaged 88. 6 points per game shy on the previous year. I think is a good late draft selection if you're in a deep league. Yeah,
it's going to be interesting with rucks too, because if you don't get onto the first 2, you could probably justify... I mean, even I think Steph Martin is like 19th or 20th highest average in the league anyway, so he's not going to really get out of round 2 either.
The best late ruck, 100% is going to be our next team podcast, and that's Shane Mumford.
Yep, so that's a late one.
You can just loophole the first 2 rounds.
But if you don't get the first 4 rucks, and by 4 I mean you're looking at Grundy, Gawn, Steph, Goldie, you might as well just wait.
5. Extend that out to 5. Nank. I think Nank's got more to give.
Yeah.
I reckon he can go 105 this year.
Right. Well, there you go.
Average 99 this year. Yeah. It's not a big stretch. Anyway.
Well, he's not that tall.
No, but he's the possession player.
Stretch. So yes.
Pierce Hanley?
I'm keen to see if he can get on the puck.
296k defender. I tell you what,
he's cheap.
If he could just show that he could stay in the park for more than 5 minutes, you'd pick him. But
yep. I find it hard to pick him in standard, even though I would like to. But he just hasn't played the games and he hasn't scored.
3 games last year, 13 the year before. Before that, he had 6 years of 80 plus, including 1 year at 103. It's just a risky pick.
It is.
Even in draft, it's a risky pick because I think people look at Pierce Hanley as someone who can get a serious return.
Yes.
They might jump early. And I might pick him on a bench.
I'd pick him as an 80 average. I'd pick him at an 80.
You'd pick him just to stop other people from getting him.
I'd pick him at
because
an 80.
Because if he goes big, then you're screwed.
Well, at 80, he's worth the risk. Because worst case scenario, if he spuds up, he'll probably get you an 80. If he gets injured, you just go catch you later.
Yeah.
And then if there's upside though, he could go high. So
that's true.
I see it for draft. I think Jordan Murdoch is interesting as well. Interesting to note anyway. So coming from Geelong, 300s, 290s should get more opportunities. So for me, I'm watching him. I'm not that impressed, but if he gets the right role and he starts to do okay,
he just needs time on the park.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's going to get that.
For draft, that is. I think he could have some value as a forward mid in draft.
I put one to watch is Corey Ellis. He never ever got real good AFL team time at Richmond. His VFL numbers were through the roof, but he was playing midfield during that. So whether or not he gets a midfield role, or if they still see him as a halfback or back pocket player, that's to be decided. But definitely someone to watch in the JLT. 233 defender mid. If he comes out in the JLT and goes 90, 105, 233 is cheap enough that you can go with as a on-field D5, or maybe even in the midfield as a swing. So
it's possible. I am interested, but I think it's too expensive for me. I do like the cheap options, but
I'm not penciling in, putting it in stone. But someone that you could replace Birchall with if Birchall doesn't get up. But again, he'd need to show some serious form in the JLT for me to even consider it.
Correct.
And the role would have to be there too. That's more important.
Correct.
That is it. Finally,
for Gold Coast.
So all those mid prices and all those rookies, but not one premium.
More relevant for draft for the mid prices on, and more relevant for standard for the rookies.
Yeah,
I believe. So
I hope you appreciate that was the amount of rookies and the research you have to do to go into rookies.
Yes, and it's about getting the right one too, because you don't want to pick the wrong one and then get some dodgy guy doing dodgy things. So,
yeah, exactly right.
There's so many rookies. Anyway, thank you very much for paying attention. We are SuperCoach Insider.
Yeah, thanks guys.
Peace be with you.
Catch you later.